Our movie starts in the moors. Three men approached a tree while little mushroom fairies were hiding. The man grabbed them, and he managed to get a few of them. They stopped for a while and were attacked by a creature with large horns. Two of the men were killed by this creature, while one escaped with one of the little mushroom fairies. It has been 5 years since Maleficent became the guardian to the Princess Aurora, after rescuing her from her father, King Stephen, who was died in the first part, if you can remember. But the story of Maleficent has been twisted to continue painting her as a villain. In the present days, Aurora is the Queen of Moors, presiding over all magical creatures. The fairies came by to tell Aurora something, along with a little porcupine fairy called Pinto. She stole Aurora's crown and led her to chase after her, only for Aurora to fall in the river. As she walks out, she meets Prince Philip. Aurora then realized what was going, and Philip proposed to her. She accepted his proposal, to the delight of the fairies. However, Diavel, the crow, do you remember him? He overheard this and flied over to tell Maleficent. Before he could finish his sentence, a very unhappy Maleficent swooped down to go and find Aurora. In Ulstead, Philip rode with General Percival back to the kingdom, and like most of the other people in Ulstead, Percival viewed Maleficent and the moorfolk as murderous monsters. Philip went to his parents, King John and Queen Ingrid, to deliver the news that Aurora has accepted his proposal. They both congratulated him, and they planned to having both Aurora and Maleficent present for a dinner. We then see Ingrid travels to a lower level in the castle, where she has several workers forging weapons. She meets a servant of hers who is in the process of creating something dangerous by using a particular flower. It's also shown that Ingrid is using the cursed spindle as a part of her plan. Maleficent, on the other hand, flies down to meet Aurora. She openly voices her approval over the engagement. Aurora just wanted Maleficent and Philip's family to get along. Maleficent knew that she was not wanted in Ulstead, but for Aurora's sake she promised to show up and behave. Diavel helped her practice being polite, while Aurora gave her a veil to cover her horns, so as to make the people in the kingdom more comfortable. Maleficent then travels with Aurora and Diavel to Ulstead to meet Joan and Ingrid. Things at the beginning seemed wrong when Ingrid deliberately placed iron silverware out, knowing full well how iron hurts fairies. Ingrid started to pile on by bringing up Maleficent's curse and the disappearance of the men in the moors, suggesting she may have had something to do with it. The final straw came when Ingrid said that Aurora will now have a real mother once she is married to Philip. Maleficent rages out and spreads her wings to intimidate everyone. When she demands to Aurora that they leave, Joan suddenly appears to fall ill before fainting. But Ingrid made everyone believe that Maleficent has cursed John, but she denied it to Aurora. When Aurora didn't join her, Maleficent fled away. Ingrid let her henchwoman, Gerda, fire iron at Maleficent, causing her to fall into the ocean. Moments later, a creature resembling her swoops down and rescues her. John is led to his bedroom. Aurora and Philip suggest that Ingrid use true love's kiss on him to wake him up, since she obviously doesn't love him and is, in fact, the one who cursed him. It doesn't work. Gerda then reports to Ingrid about the other creature that grabbed Maleficent. Maleficent wakes up to find her wound tended too. She wanders and comes across a gathering of other dark fairies, including Connell, the one who saved her from the ocean. Do you remember? Co-leader Bora views the humans as the enemy, blaming them for the disappearance of the fairies. They see Maleficent and Bora goes over to mock her association with a human. This makes her mad enough to demonstrate her power against Bora when he actually finds, great as he thinks, they can use her power against the humans. Connell then takes Maleficent across the land, which is a hidden society of the fairies that possess unique powers. Connell also shows Maleficent that she is descended from a fairy phoenix, but her ancestor used her power for dark purposes and was crystallized. He warns Maleficent from using that kind of power. Pinto sneaks into the castle and finds the mushroom fairies on the other hand, but she gets captured by Lickspittle and placed along the other stolen fairies again. Meanwhile, Lickspittle is then shown to have completed Ingrid's weapon. He shows her how it works. The pieces of the flower are mixed with iron powder to turn it red and make it instantly lethal to fairies. Lickspittle grabs a poor dandelion fairy and causes it to burst into dust with the slightest touch of the powder. Ingrid gets ready to use it and invites the Moorfolk to attend Aurora and Philip's wedding. In the midst of the celebration, Maleficent senses something is not right. She flies to Morse and finds that Ingrid's soldiers have taken the flowers. They have also ambushed her and fire iron bullets at her, but Connell dives in to save her. Wounding himself, the other fairies fight off the soldiers and return to lay Connell to rest. Bora proclaims to the other fairies that Ingrid has initiated a war against them, and they will fight together as an army. Maleficent stays by Connell's side as he dies, in which he transfers his essence to her while he becomes part of the earth. The Moorfolk began to arrive in the kingdom for ceremony. Aurora then senses something from the spot on her finger where she had been pricked. She comes across Ingrid's secret lair and finds the spindle, which allows her to see that Ingrid stabbed John with a cursed end. She also discovers that Lickspittle is a pixie who was forced to work for Ingrid after she took his wings. Ingrid finds Aurora and has her guards imprison her. Ingrid has all the Moorfolk locked inside the chapel, as Gerda begins to release the red powder inside, which kills some of the tree folk. Outside, Maleficent and Bora lead the other fairies to fight back, but they are hit with numerous powder bombs, instantly killing some of them and forcing them to fall back. Aurora tells Philip what his mother has done, and when he knew the truth from Ingrid, who shows no remorse, Philip defies her and jumps off the tower, escaping on a balloon. Bora swoops down and almost kills Percival when he attempts to strike another fairy, but Philip intervenes. He tells Bora he doesn't want his mother's war, and he refuses to have fairy blood on his hand. Maleficent witnesses this and realizes that Philip can be trusted. She still goes after his mother and faces her on the tower. Aurora runs up to stop Maleficent from killing Ingrid, saying she knows she's not evil as they say she is. Ingrid then fires an arrow to Aurora, but Maleficent takes the hit and disintegrates. As Aurora weeps, Ingrid tells her that she is the one who spread the stories about Maleficent being evil, as she wanted to take the control of the Moors by wiping out the creatures there. Aurora's tears then cause Maleficent to regenerate into her powerful phoenix form. She causes the nearby tower to collapse, and Ingrid makes one last cowardly move by throwing Aurora off the tower. Maleficent goes to save her, and they tumble across the ground. As Ingrid tries to escape, she is found by Bora and the other fairies. Outside, Maleficent asks Philip if he truly loves Aurora, and he says that he truly does. Maleficent gives her blessing, and Lickspittle comes to give her the cursed knife that Ingrid used. Maleficent breaks the curse, causing the spindle to disappear and for Joan to wake up. Ingrid is then dropped out of the castle through vines before Maleficent turns her into a god to take her punishment. Philip is happy to see his father again. Aurora and Philip are officially married, and the humans and the fairies are integrated into both kingdoms. Maleficent goes to rejoin the other fairies as she bids the new couple farewell, but cheekily promises to be back for their baby's christening. The movie ends with Maleficent flying away across the sky with the fairies. That's the end of our story.